Hi everyone, it's Heidi from the Middletown Senior Center, and today we're going to make the wine cork pumpkins. Wine cork pumpkins. So it's going to come in a brown paper bag, and in your bag you're going to have this instructional sheet. Goes step by step. You're going to have a cut out leaf template. See that very well. You're going to have a couple of pieces of this dark green felt. String, twine, one of these spray adhesives. You may have used this in one of our other projects that we've done. Kind of fun stuff. And then you're going to have 43 wine corks come in a bag. You're going to take 2 of those aside and just hold them aside. You don't do anything with those for right now. And then what you're going to do is, oh, you'll also have some orange paint. Sorry about that. Orange paint. First, you're going to protect the surface that you're working on because it's acrylic paint and the glue may not come off of surfaces, so you want to be extra careful about what it can touch. Don't let it touch your clothing because it'll probably be yours to keep if that happens. The glue at least dries clear, so it won't be, as noticeable, but orange paint on stuff is kind of tacky. Anyway. So for the corks, what I did first was go ahead and paint the ends of all of the corks. So you can see here that they're painted on both ends. And I'm going to just tilt the camera down so that you can hopefully see what I'm doing here on screen rather than just looking at my face. Here we go. So how I managed this was I dipped one end into the paint you only want the very end, and then I did like this and got the paint on both sides where I wanted it. So that worked out very well, and then of course it takes a few minutes for it to dry. It's not like an instantaneous drying with the paint, but you get the idea. I went ahead and I did it with every cork except for the 2 that I'm holding aside. The next step on here is to, the next step would be to start lining them up. And there is a diagram right here that you can see the groupings of how you're going to line things up. And it shows how many per row for each of the pumpkins. So what I went ahead and started doing was gluing the corks to each other in the number that corresponds with how many rows and whatnot for each of the pumpkins. The glue does take about 10-15 minutes or so to dry in between. So with the magic of the internet and pre-recording things, I'm going to break away because watching me glue is not going to be exciting, and we'll come back. But I will show you a tip that I found to be helpful with this. Even this is spray glue and it's very fun to work with. However, spraying it on a cork, you end up having, splatter, and it kind of goes everywhere. So what I did was just, you want to shake it because you got to keep it mixed properly. But then I unscrewed it, and using the straw that's inside for the sprayer, I used that as like a dipstick. And just kind of did a line of glue across, and then stick the 2 corks together, so, just like that. And like I said, it takes about 15 minutes or so for the glue to dry. That will vary depending upon the humidity. You may actually be able to speed it up if you have a fan nearby, or like a hairdryer on low. That could help speed up the process. But that's it in a nutshell. When we come back, I'll have everything will be stuck together and the amount per pumpkin, and then we'll go from there again. Hi guys, it's Heidi, Middletown Senior Center, coming back to finish up the wine cork project that we started the other day. There's been, the storm. 2020 is the year that just keeps giving, isn't it? So we had the storm, we were out of power. Where we left off before was that we had painted the ends of the corks, and then I was sticking them all together in groups according to the chart that comes on handy dandy step-by-step instruction sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and tilt the screen down again so that you can see the table that we're working on instead of just looking at my face because you can't see the corks. So here we go. All right, so I have gone ahead and arranged my rows according to the chart that's on the instruction sheet. So the largest pumpkin has a row of 4, then a row of 5, then a row of 6, then another row of 5 and 4. Middle one is 3, 4, 3. Smallest one is 2, 3, 2. So then I'm going to use the glue and reapply so that we are stacking the rows on top of each other. I've gone ahead and like pre-glued these because watching me apply glue to corks on a video, I'm sure is not the most riveting programming that you've ever witnessed. So I'm trying to speed this up for you here and just make a few touch-ups. So I'm going to go ahead and stack my cork rows. So this has created the largest pumpkin. Go ahead and do this again. There's some of the glue has shifted. Gravity is, you know, a challenge. It's pulled the glue down into the cracks, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it helps to make sure that your project doesn't fall apart, but you know, it just kind of rolled off on the corks and went down into the cracks. So again, I'm gonna apply glue. Be generous with the glue. It takes a little bit longer to dry when you're generous, but you'll know that everything is stuck securely in place when it does dry. Okay, so this is my medium or middle pumpkin. And then last but not least, the little wee one. And by the way, I really hope that you'll appreciate the fact that I consumed 43 bottles of wine for each and every one of you to do this project. You know, I took one for the team, or rather I took 43 for the team. So, you know, you do the math. And that's how devoted we are over here at the Middletown Senior Center. Oh, for, you know, my glue bottle stuck to my paper. Okay, perfect. Off camera, I went ahead and cut out this leaf from the template that you were given. I didn't cut out all of the little details. It's really not important to do that on the paper as much as you do it on the fabric itself. So I just used the small one. I felt like that would work best for me, but go ahead and use whichever sizes you want to use and whatever works with the pieces of felt that you have as well. So here is the felt leaf. So I did 2 that are basically the same size. It's messy here because I've got glue all over the place. They're about the same size. And then I just made a smaller one. So if you've noticed, this piece of paper that we've cut out for the leaf is actually heart-shaped. So I made a smaller heart and then just cut the detail in it to look like the leaf. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a generous dab of glue here. The glue really gets absorbed right into the felt. So go ahead and be generous with it. Again, it dries clear, and you know, having a generous amount will help ensure that it is staying where you put it and keeping your project together more securely. Okay, I gotta put a lot of glue on here. You see, it's, you know, it's not particularly beautiful. You don't have to be really detail oriented with this. All right, and then just for, you know, to make sure it really stays in place, I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the tops of the corks where the fabric would be touching, and place the leaf on there. And then the last one. I don't know if you can see how messy I am on this piece of paper. So it's really a good thing that I've protected the area. I'm not getting glue all over the tabletop or paint all over the tabletop. The glue does dry clear, so if you make a mistake and it gets somewhere, that won't be the end of the world. But, you know, you still don't want to get glue all over your furniture. I'm just applying some glue to the top of the corks where the fabric would rest in place, and then just lay that on top. For the stems, I'm going to show you, I've already cut them off screen, but I want to show you how I did it. So this is an extra pumpkin that an extra cork that I had. And it says for the first one, you want to cut off 1/3 of the length of the cork. So imagine that this cork is divided into thirds, and you take your scissor and turn and squeeze and turn until it breaks. So then you would have two pieces out of one cork. One is 1/3, one is 2/3, and these would become the tops of the largest pumpkin and the smallest pumpkin. But I'm going to use this over here. Okay, so my smallest one, and being super generous with the glue because the fabric itself absorbs the glue. So you want to make sure that you've got glue sticking on the cork as well as the fabric. Press it in place. And I've used so much glue at this point that it is going to take a little bit longer to dry. So keep that in mind. This will probably take, I don't know, somewhere around ½ an hour to dry. So you want to make sure that you're doing your project in an area where it's not going to be disturbed. You don't have to get it out of the way super quick so you can cook dinner, or, you know, the cat's not going to come by and knock it all over like mine would. So, okay, got that. And then for the second cork that you cut, you just cut it in half, and that half of cork becomes the stem for your middle-sized pumpkin. I want to make sure that I've got glue on both sides. Stick it in place. Okay, so that's gonna again take about ½ an hour to set up. I've got glue in my fingernails, so fun. Off camera, I went ahead and just tied these cute little bows out of the string, but I'm going to show you how I did it with a length of string that I have left over. So here's our string. First, I made 2 loops in the string, pinching it in my fingers. Then I went ahead and tied those in a bow. And readjust your loops and your ends until they're at a length that you find pleasing. So here we go. Super simple. Takes less than 30 seconds to make. And we're going to stick these on the pumpkins as well. So what I'm doing is applying a generous bead to the knot section. You want to make sure that, you know, you're generous with it so that the glue works its way into the fiber of the twine. And once it's dry, it'll keep the bow from slipping. It'll be, secured as a knot. But then additionally, it'll help you to hold the bow in place on your completed pumpkin. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that with the remaining strings. And generous bead. Allow the glue to go into the fabric of the fibers of the string to secure the knot and to keep your bow in place on your pumpkin. Last one. Last one's the best one, right? Okay. My daughter's coach always said, last one's the best one. So you always end on a good note. So working the glue into the fibers, building up a bead. Floppy. Okay, all right. So, and then I'm just going to turn my whole paper around. I guess that would be the easiest thing to do so that you can see the front of these. Going over the edge here. Oopsies. Uh-oh. Gravity at work again. All right, so I'm pushing that back into place. This back into place. So these are the most adorable wine cork pumpkins that you have ever seen in your whole life and ever will see. I really, really hope that you're having a good time with these projects that we're putting together for you. I've had a good time putting them together. It's just super awkward sitting here in front of the camera talking to myself in a room. But I really hope that you're enjoying. I really hope that you take the time to really enjoy the moment and to take pictures of what you're doing to share with us. You can send it to us via email or send it up into the Facebook account, the Middletown Facebook account. We'd love to see your comments in the comment section below. And just let us know how you're doing. Keep in touch with us. It's really super fun. Another way for us to stay connected while we stay separately. And hopefully 2020 will pull its head out of its back pocket pretty soon and we can get back to living again. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, have a great outlook, be a good human being, take care. Love you guys. Bye.